Honkai Star Rail is currently undergoing yet again more controversy following the recent reveal of Cyrene for the upcoming version 3.7 update. The problems surrounding Cyrene include her power level being quite underwhelming despite being a direct reference to the iconic Honkai Impact 3rd character Alicia, the 3.7 livestream demonstration of Cyrene's kit showing evidence of the dev team showing her off with multiple Eidolons, potentially as high as Eidolon 6, and a limited time bow skin for her based on Elijah from Honkai Impact 3rd that is locked behind another spending event that requires purchasing $300 worth of Honoric shards for the skin. I'll be completely honest, my interest in Honkai Star Rail has always been the least of the big four, even during my time playing it, and when I did eventually quit in version 3.0, I didn't have any real strong emotions leading up to uninstalling. I was just more so relieved that I didn't have to set aside so much free time to trudge through story content. But today, I wanted to pose a question as to if HSR being the first to push devs listen to culture might have had something to do with the Starfaring RPG's fall from grace. I know some of you are probably going to say that devs listened was mostly a Wuthering Waves and Mr. Pokey thing, but I genuinely do believe that there is some truth to the matter, so please allow me to explain my point. When Honkai Star Rail first came out, it was the first high-profile gacha game that many whom held frustrations and dissatisfaction with Genshin Impact had fled to. It made a great first impression with its interesting premise, visually refined presentation of turn-based combat, and the overwhelmingly positive reception of the Belobog story arc. It also had more meaningful content on offer, being the first big-name gacha to introduce permanent roguelite mode content with the simulated universe, which would receive frequent updates to add variety to the mode's foundation. Weapon banners were also a massive step up from Genshin Impact, with a 75-25 system, a guarantee after loss, and carryover pity when compared to the Staff of Homeless banner system that was Genshin Impact. The stamina system had a faster regeneration rate of 6 minutes versus 8 minutes with Genshin, Ascension materials could be converted if players had too many of one item gathering dust in their inventory, as well as introducing new endgame content before Genshin with the Pure Fiction game mode in version 1.6. And of course, what Star Rail glaze wouldn't be perfected without mentioning the free doctor ratio given to all players, the final cherry on top that would kick off the Genshin could never cultural phrase in the gacha community. When combined with the early patches of version 2.0 and the honeymoon phase of Penacony, Honkai Star Rail seems like an untouchable juggernaut that treated its players right, all the while Genshin treated their players like animals in a cage to be poked and prodded at. But as we all know how the story went, it didn't last forever, as the later half of version 2 of HSR would be heavily criticized for repeatedly bloating its story content as well as tipping its hand to reveal the insane levels of power creep it had in store for its player base. Star Rail's breaking point would accelerate rapidly with player fatigue from story bloat of the first couple patches of Amphorius in version 3, and shatter completely with version 3.2, the Casterus global passive, and the numerous opportunities to open your wallet to Daddy Star Rail. But let's take a step back for a second. This wasn't some sudden betrayal of goodwill from the Star Rail arm of Hoyoverse. This was them cashing in on what was over a year's worth of goodwill they knew they had and wanted to capitalize on. And capitalize they did, as Casterus went on to be one of their most profitable banners in Star Rail history, despite the massive online discourse. Their stocked up goodwill, now fueled by the success of the Casterus banner, only emboldened the Star Rail team further with the debut of the polling event in version 3.4 for a free 5-star light cone for the Fate collaboration character Archer. Which brings us to the present with version 3.7, Cyrene, her dodgy advertising, and a $300 bow. By comparison, the most tomfoolery Genshin tried to pull was with the dual banner situation with Mavwika and Sitlali, and Zenless Zone Zero's most predatory act in quotations being the currently ongoing polling event for the Vivian skin. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that I think it is incredibly dangerous to put one gacha game on a pedestal over another in the never-ending spat of gacha tribalism. Championing a gacha game and shielding it from critique only means you're just as likely to get stabbed in the back as you are from the front, which is exactly what happened to the Star Rail community. Inflating hype for a game for its perceived generosity or superior handling of its community only sets you up for disappointment and you will be left wanting, like we saw with Wuthering Waves' first anniversary and are seeing currently with the community's frustration from a lack of combat-focused content. Believing you're immune to a development team's meddling with your experience will result in a rude awakening, something Zenless Zone Zero players found out in version 2.2 with the Deadly Assault rotation and the Defiler boss. Mint pickers! If there's anything to take away from this video, it's that no gacha game is immune to rot from the inside out. Once a gacha gets too big and too successful, it will be too late to prevent the harvesting of its players for all that they're worth. This is why I believe an underperforming gacha game will always be better than an overperforming one. It results in more feedback, changes, and additions that are more in line with the wishes of its players, and is well worth it, even if it results in walking a knife's edge of potential end of service. It's just as I said in my previous Star Rail video when the Archer Light Cone situation sprung up. The end goal of any gacha game should be to no longer be a gacha game, and if Ananta can potentially be that end goal on the horizon, then maybe, just maybe, we can finally see some progressive change. For gacha is not a genre of video game, but simply a business model, and it is a very insidious business model at that.
Now you've inherited our problems. We didn't listen. We didn't listen.